Good evening, folks, and welcome to Club Passim. Thank you for coming here and watching one of our live streams. We've been live streaming here now for the past 15 months, just about, oddly enough, and we are getting eager to get you all back in the room here with us. We've been doing more and more live streams from the venue, but we want to get you in here too. And we are at the beginning of our spring fund drive right now called Passim Prepares as we start to get things cleaned up and ready for you all to come back in the room. We're hoping to do some little test shows later on in the month and then be back up full and running by the end of the summer. We're so grateful for your support over the years and certainly over the last year, but we appreciate you thinking about becoming a member or renewing your membership now. You can do that at passim.org/support and help us get back to being in the room with you all. But also, your support helps keep going not just the room, but the Passim School of Music, our outreach programs, our festivals, and our grant projects. And we are so happy to be here live in the room tonight with another great performer. If you make a donation tonight for tonight's show, you can do that at passim.org/stream and share the link when you get a moment too. That gets more eyes and ears on what we have going on. And we are absolutely honored to have in the room tonight Roy Bookbinder.
This here's one of the first songs I heard that tickled my ear and led me to the life I've been living for the last 60 years. Hard to believe. I was going to college on the GI Bill in Providence, Rhode Island, at Rhode Island Junior College. Anybody could go there. They used to call it Reject. Well, it cost $100 a semester, and being that I got out of the U.S. Navy, I was getting $100 a month on the GI Bill to go to college. You gotta love this country. Besides going to school, I was working at the Amico gas station in Seekonk, Massachusetts. That's where Massachusetts and Rhode Island and Connecticut, I think, all come together up there in Seekonk. It's quite a place. The cafeteria at the junior college, I used to sit with the veterans. Us old guys, you know, we were over 21. I noticed there were a lot of long-haired people sitting at other tables. They were the beatniks and the hippies to be, I guess. One day I was pumping gas and this fella from the hipster table came over to get gas, and he said, "You one of them guys at Rhode Island Junior College, aren't you?" I said, "Yeah, I am." He said, "You sit with the veterans?" I said, "Yeah, I was in the United States Navy. Spent 3 years terrorizing Italian villages in the Mediterranean." He said, "Well, that's pretty cool. I'm having a soiree at my pad over in South Providence Saturday night. Why don't you come by and meet some of my people?" So I thought that would be a pretty cool thing to have the veterans mix with the hipsters. So I went over there after work, and I walked in, and a record was playing on the record player down on the floor, and it was, I said, "Well, who's that?" They said, "That's Dave Van Ronk." First time I ever heard the Candyman Blues and "Baby Let Me Lay It On You," and I listened to that song, and both of them, and then I started it over, and everybody started looking at me like I was the weird one. I never heard a guitar sound like that, and I announced to these kids, I said, "I'm going to be doing that someday." And here I am. One day Dave Van Ronk came to play at Brown University. I went down there to catch the show because I got all his records by then, and I was pretty wrapped up into it. Dave did a great show, and it was actually the women's had a different school that wasn't called Brown. It was called something else. I forget what it was called. Now they all go to the same college. Dave did the concert, and he came back out the back door, and I was there, and I introduced myself. I said, "You really the coolest thing I ever heard playing a guitar." He said, "What do you do?" I said, "Well, I'm going to junior college, but I'm going to be a blues singer someday." He He said, good luck. Candyman, I couldn't get it out of my head. I went to sleep, seeing the guitar notes coming out of my fingers, you know. Eventually I got it down. I played a hootenanny at the Mouthpiece Coffee House on Benefit Street. Got my courage up, me and my buddy Dave. Played our 3 songs. That's all you could play. It was perfect. I didn't know anymore. Of course, I played the Candyman. After we did our 3 songs, we ran outside to smoke some cigarettes and discuss the situation. I announced, I don't know about you, but I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. Made my way to Greenwich Village after a couple of years of junior college. Dave Van Ronk was hosting the Hootenannies, the open mics. I signed up to sing with 3 songs. I actually had 4 or 5 by then. And I was backstage, and Dave Van Ronk usually didn't spend much time in the cafe. He was upstairs at the Kettle of Fish. But at the end of the Hootenanny, after everybody got to do their 3 songs, he'd come down and do the last set. Well, he came down and heard me do my last song, and then he came back in the dressing room as I was putting my guitar away. And I said, Dave, you remember me? He said, yeah, I do, and you did. And that night I went home to his pad on Waverly Place, I think it was. Pat Sky lived upstairs. May he rest in peace. Drank a bottle of Irish whiskey and palled up with Dave. Still love playing the Candyman Blues song all these years. It's almost 60 years ago. Candyman, salty dog. Candyman, salty dog. Candyman, salty dog. If you won't be my Candyman, I won't be a salty dog. Run and get the bucket, get the baby some beer. Run and get the bucket, get the baby some beer. Run and get the bucket, get the baby some beer. Candyman, run and get the bucket, get the baby some beer. Yeah, run and get the bucket, get Dave and Ron. Got to do anything in this God Almighty world just to keep the Candyman home. Big leg item, big leg item, big leg. Well, I sure do love that big leg gal, God knows I do. Heard Jack Elliott do this song too, and said he learned it at Woody Guthrie's house. He had a tape of Gary Davis doing it. Ended up, I got Gary Davis's phone number and rang him up. It was the end of my formal education to quit school to go on the road with him. Told him I had $50 saved up, and he laughed at me, but when I was getting ready to leave that night, he said, if you come by with your $50 tomorrow, I'm going to carry you with me. Bring your $50, I'll take care of the rest. We took the train to Chicago, 1969. Candyman, been and gone. Candyman, been and gone. Candyman, been and gone. Well, I wished I was down in New Orleans, just sitting on a Candyman stand. Candyman Blues, that's the name of that one. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thank you very much. I'm tearing them up here in Cambridge, Massachusetts. The Passims. First time we came here, it was Club 47. I saw Muddy Waters. Well, they came to see Muddy Waters, but he was sick. So Otis Spann, the piano player, he took over the show, and that was really a great thing because you never get to see Otis Spann lead the band, but it was great. Great night. Well, I got time for another song, I guess, here. I'll do this one. This one I wrote for Reverend Davis. Me and Reverend Davis took the, you know, Mrs. Davis was quite a fancy cook, everybody said, but I knew something was cooking at that house the first time I was there, and I was a long-haired vegetarian with a guitar, Jones, you know. And I don't know what she cooked that chicken in, but I'm sure it was lard. And I wasn't big on eating it, but I nibbled it down quite a bit there, drank a lot of water, put it under my napkin. Next time I went there, I told her I had to leave at 4 o'clock because I had a dentist appointment. And it got me out of dinner the second time. The third day I went over, Reverend Davis said he was going on tour, so I told him about my $50 and ended up dropping out of college and going on the road with Reverend Davis. He said to be there at 6:30 in the morning. So I got there at 6:30, I knocked on the door, and Mrs. Davis came to the door, Annie, and she was had a house dress on, you know, and her hair up in curls. She said, "Roy Bookbinder, what are you doing here?" I said, "Well, Reverend Davis said to be at 6:30. He said, the train don't leave till tonight. Come in, I'll fix you a good healthy breakfast." That kind of freaked me out, but made it through breakfast okay. And finally we got, Reverend Lawrence came over. We had a prayer meeting in the living room at Reverend Davis's house. That's the house we used to lovingly refer to as the house that Peter, Paul, and Mary built. Because everybody knows he was singing on the streets when they covered Samson and Delilah, and they insisted he get paid. So the publishers and the lawyers asked him if he wrote the song. He said he didn't read or write, and they were all excited about that when he leaned back in the chair and said the song was revealed to him in the spring of '28. And Peter, Paul, and Mary all pointed at the contract, and they put down Reverend Davis's name. And he put his mark down there. He couldn't write too good. And that was that. Nobody could ever believe it. The record would be #1 on the pop charts, and Reverend Davis's first check was 5 figures. Never sang on the streets again, the end of a good tradition. The Lord works in mysterious ways. They ended up in a house in Long Island, and Manny Greenhill, the Greenhill family, managed his affairs and made sure all the songs were copyrighted. He died on May 5th, 1972, and Mother Davis, as we called her in the church, she lived off the royalties for the rest of her life. Songs were recorded by the Grateful Dead and Hot Tuna and the Blasters and Taj Mahal and Davian Rock, me, and about half the other guitar pickers in the world. Anyway, this is a tune I wrote for the great Reverend. I call this The Preacher Picked the Guitar, and this song's been covered by a lot of people that I've never heard of, but it was recorded by Jorma Kaukonen, Hot Tuna fame, and Jefferson Airplane, and he did a swell job on it with Larry Campbell on second guitar, and that came out on a record, and it's pretty good for me. And most recently, I became chummy with Tommy Emmanuel. He was at guitar camp. Jorma has a guitar camp. We call it the Fur Piece Ranch because it's down the road to Fur Piece, you know. And I teach there for a long weekend once a year. Back in the early days, school's about 28, 30 years old by now, I think. I've been there since the beginning. That's an ironic story of how I ended up friends with Jorma Kaukonen, but I'm not going to get into that right now. I'll just do the damn song. I call this The Preacher Picked the Guitar. Tell you a story about a man I once knew. He was a blind street singing preacher that played some blues, and his fingers picked the guitar. Passed his days just singing and waiting on the Lord. The angels heard him sing and thought he should be heard. They opened the ears around the world so he could spread the word. And the preacher picked the guitar. His hands made those magic chords. And past his days, he was just singing and waiting on the Lord. message that came from miles around. His pulpit was on the streets up in Harlem, and sometimes way downtown. Fingers picked the guitar. You know they made those magic chords. Yes, he passed his days waiting on the Lord. He sailed across the ocean of London into France, thanking Jesus every day for giving him that chance. Yeah, the preacher picked the guitar. His hands made those magic chords. Yes, he passed his days, he was just singing, waiting on the Lord. One day his voice was quiet as time had come. Knew where he was going, where he had just come from. His fingers picked the guitar. They danced up and down the board. Yes, he passed his days just singing and waiting on the Lord. Well, I told you a story about a man I once knew. He was a blind street singing preacher that played some blues. Fingers picked the guitar. They danced up and down the board. Past his days, he was just singing and waiting on the Lord. Preacher picked the guitar, that's what we call that one. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, your McCalkin was telling me you recorded that with a second time with as a duet with Tommy Emmanuel. I haven't heard that yet. That'd be pretty exciting. Tommy Emmanuel and your McCalkin together. Whew, man. Crazy world. Here's one I wrote. I wrote this one from my friend Pink Anderson. Pink Anderson. It was from Spartanburg, South Carolina. Grew up about 27 miles from where Gary Davis grew up in Gray Court, South Carolina. But they never met. They heard about each other. And Pink learned to play guitar from an old blind guy named Simmy Dooley. And when I told Reverend Davis I was going to visit and find Pink Anderson, he told me to say hello to Simmy Dooley, but it didn't work out. I called up Reverend Davis when I got down there and said Simmy Dooley died in '49. What can you do? But Pink was worked mostly in medicine shows, and he worked with the last show, Chief Thundercloud's medicine show, and he worked a lot with his buddy Pegleg Sam. Pegleg Sam was a dancer. There were a lot of peg-legged dancers back in the day. It was pretty big. A lot of guys lost their legs hopping freight trains and stuff, I hear. The most famous peg-legged guy I met was Pegleg Bates. He had a resort in the Catskill Mountains for his people. And that went pretty good for him. And he was on the Ed Sullivan Show over 17 times. He was quite a tap dancer. You can Google that up. I don't tell no lies up here. Well, this one, Step Right Up. It's from my hit album, The Good Book. Step right up, folks, you just got to see the magnificent, magical, mysterious menagerie. It will amaze, it will amuse, it will arouse and astound. No doubt the most bodacious show in this here town. Pack up your sorries, kiss away your cares. You won't have to worry no more. If you're tired and run down and life ain't worth living no more, you can't hardly drag yourself out of bed like before. You got no health, no vitality, no vigor, no zest. The Chief's Indian remedy, elixir's the best, don't hesitate. You don't want to be late, get there before it's all gone. You gotta drink it neat, that's right, it ain't too sweet. Before long you'll be back wanting more. The Chief will make you believe the doc ain't there to deceive, and the story that he weaves will relieve you of some of your pain and all of your change. But you'll be glad that you came to the show. I said, step right up, folks, you just got to see the magnificent, magical, mysterious menagerie. It'll amaze, amuse, arouse, and astound. No doubt the most bodacious show in this here town. Pack up your sorries, kiss away your cares. You won't have to worry no more. They got a peg-legged dancer and an Indian chief. A blues singing lady with diamonds in her teeth. Two-headed turtle man, you just gotta see it. They got him a chicken that can count to 10, no lie. Follow them down to the free show tonight. You don't want to miss it begin. I said, step right up, folks, you just got to see the magnificent, magical, mysterious menagerie. Yes, sirree, Bob. Now, if you were paying attention, you might have noticed there was a line about the lady with the diamond teeth. That was Diamond Teeth Mary. I was lucky enough to run upon her. She was in Florida, living in Bradenton. She was working with a piano player at that time. And then she ended up in a nursing home there and finished up her run. But she worked in different shows and carnivals. In 1949, she was a headline act, Diamond Teeth Mary, in the Rabbit Foot Minstrel Show that toured through the South. In the spring of 49, playing in such places as Arkansas, where I got a feeling Lee Von Helm saw her sneaking into the tent there, the kid, you know, probably a young teenager, and they got to see the lady's diamond smile, and that ended up in the song that the band had called W.C. Walcott's Medicine Show. Diamond Teeth Mary, she was quite a piece of work. Now, by the time we met her, she explained to us that she lost her diamonds to bury her poor parents up in Huntington, West Virginia, where she was from. And she used to go on stage, she'd get some silver foil from gum wrappers and put it on her false teeth and grin a lot. Looked pretty good. She toured Europe with my brother-in-law, Rock Bottom. That wasn't his real name, but that's what he called himself, Rock Bottom and the Cutaways. He wished he could be here tonight, but he's dead. Almost everybody I knew was dead, so it's kind of weird. You never expect to be such an old guy. But what can you do? I was talking to Jack Elliott on the phone last week. He's going to be 90. It's hard to make sense of that. I must be getting old. But I better do you another song here. This is the kind of song Pink Anderson used to do in the medicine shows. And Pegleg Sam was quite a character, too. He could really dance. He was still working with Chief Thundercloud's medicine show, the last medicine show that got filmed by the University of North Carolina for the archives there. And Pink had retired because he had a stroke, and he couldn't take the road anymore. So that was sad. But when I met Pink, he was living in Spartanburg most of his life, and he died in 74. Not before I dragged him out on tour, though. Me and Paul Jeremiah and Fats Kaplan, we took him on tour. And first gig was in Newport, Rhode Island, at a club called Salt, run by a lawyer named Dan Prentice. Good man. And Pink Anderson got a big write-up in the paper because he made records in the 20s, and Pink Floyd was named after him, though he never heard of them, but that's okay. It didn't matter. He had a big crowd at that gig, and the first night, Paul Jeremiah opened up for him, and me and Fats Kaplan, we were playing a club date in New York, but then we came back on the Saturday, opened up the show for him, and Pink was really on that night. It was an incredible show. Packed house, big story in the Providence Journal. Amazing. It's hard to get a big story in the paper anymore. Probably get a good one if you had a peg leg, but Pink used to do songs like this. I just want to tell you about a man named Boone. His home was down in Tennessee. He made his living stealing chickens, that's right, and anything he could see. The pop-eyed man run so fast that his feet never did stay in a row. If a freight train passed, it didn't matter how fast Boone would get on board. He was a traveling man. Certainly was a traveling man, that's right. You know that he was the most travelingest man that ever was in the doggone land. He traveled everywhere. He was known for many miles around. Didn't get caught and never got whooped till the police shot him down. Now listen, the police hired him an automobile. The purpose was to chase old Boone. They were chasing that cat from 6 o'clock in the morning till 7:30 the next afternoon. The pop-eyed man run so fast. Fire did come from his heels. They burned up the cotton, scorched the corn. He might as well have drove himself through the farmer's field. He was a traveling man, certainly was a traveling man. He was the doggonest, most travelingest man that ever was in that. Traveled everywhere, that's right. He was known for many miles around. Didn't get caught, never got whooped till the police shot him down. And listen, the boy was on the Titanic ship the day it was going down. He was standing out by the port rail and had his head hung down. When he did jump overboard, everybody said Boone was a fool. About 2 minutes after that, the cat was shooting dice in Liverpool. He was a traveling man. That's right, he certainly was a traveling man. He was the doggonest travelingest man that ever was in the land. He traveled everywhere. He was known for many miles around. Didn't get caught no whoop till the police shot him down. And listen, the police caught this traveling man. They had him up to hang one day. That's right. Jury asked that traveling man, what did he have to say? Begged the jurymen all to bow their heads. Ooh, bow their heads in prayer. Then he crossed the leg and he winked an eye. Went up through the air. He was a traveling man like I've been trying to tell you. That's the old traveling man song. Thank you very much. Play an old blues song now. This is the new St. Pete Blues. I wrote this song a couple of years ago. Me and the new wife live in St. Petersburg, Florida. Been married for going on 23 years, I think. Really got to know each other over this pandemic thing. I never spent so much time at home. We still liked each other, which was really cool. Who could have figured that? She's coming up north here to meet me on the tour next week. I'm going to play somewhere else. Fall tour is looking better. I'll be at Merlefest for the 26th year in a row. That's a good one. And teaching at Yorma Calkin's guitar camp. That's a lot of fun. Going to be there with my old pal G.E. Smith. He's a riot. Great guitar player. Acoustic or electric. He was working with that Saturday Night Live band when he wanted. He called me up and said, what kind of guitars, what'd you see at the guitar show that I should have down in Texas? I said, I got one of them L2 Sparkle Top Gibsons. He said, I love those and I overpay for them. I said, well, I'll sell it to you. So I made a deal with him and sold him the guitar. And then he said, you said it had the original case. I said, well, I'm keeping that. He said, oh, no, that's the deal. I said, well, I'm going to England. I'll bring it over next time I see you when I get back. He said, okay, you owe me that case. So I got back from England and called up GE. I said, I got the case. He says, well, bring it down to Saturday Night Live. We're in rehearsals here at the NBC building, I think it was. So I drove down there on my way to a gig up in upstate New York. And I parked underneath the building, and I walked into the Saturday Night Live building with a guitar case. Everybody was looking at me like I was Elvis or something. They're trying to figure it out. But they were lined up to go to Letterman's show, and I got on the other end. I got up there to Saturday Night Live, and there was G.E. sitting on the stage. They were in rehearsals with Tom Petty. I never met him, so I walked over there, and G.E. introduced me to Tom Petty. He said, this is Roy Bookbinder. He said, he just got back from his English tour. He said, oh, yeah, did you have a good tour? I said, not bad. I said, here's your damn case, G.E. He looked at it and said, I thought it was in better condition. I said, you're lucky you got it. So, and then they're chit-chatting about guitars, that's what them kind of guys do. And then they started talking about ukulele. So I casually said, oh, did you ever see, I just came back from England. Did you ever see George's National Ukulele? Tom Petty looked at me, he said, no, I hadn't. Did you? I said, no, but just making conversation here. He thought I was over there hanging with the Beatles, And then after about a half an hour, I said, look, guys, I said, this is a lot of fun sitting here at your rehearsal, but you're not doing much rehearsing. I said, and I'm paying $22 an hour at a park down below, so I'm getting my ass out of here. Goodbye. That's as close as I got to being on Saturday Night Live. That's chapter 23 in the book I'm writing, Near Brushes with Stardom. It's quite a story, I tell you. Now, where was I going with all that? I'm going to do this song I wrote called, I can never remember what it's called until I start playing it. What you gonna do when your baby, that's what it's called. What you gonna do when a gal you love said that she just don't want you no more? Well, you can run, you can hide, you can catch a freight train. Life that you was leading's never gonna be the same. What you gonna do when your baby said you're gonna pack up and go? What you gonna do when you're down on your luck? You got your money on a pony, won't run. Yes, what you gonna do? You're down to your last buck, man. You just can't buy yourself no more fun. You know what should have happened. You know what could have been. You know the pony could have got there, man. You know your pony didn't win. What you gonna do when your baby says you're gonna pack up and go? What you gonna do when your baby says you're gonna pack up and go? Yeah, what you gonna do when the gal you love said that she just don't want you no more? You can run. What you gonna do when the gal you love said that she don't want you no more? What you gonna do when your baby says you're gonna back up and go? Yes, you can run, you can hide, you can catch a freight train. A life you're leading is never gonna be the same. What you gonna do when your baby says you're gonna pack up and go? Had a senior moment there. You're just going to end that one right there like that. Keep out of trouble, you know what I mean? Sometimes it's hard to have a senior moment. You can jump right back in, but if it don't happen right away, let it go. That's on my latest album. It's almost 10 years old, the latest album. It's called The Good Book, and it's me. And it's on Peg Leg Records. That's my own record company. You know, our motto at Peg Leg Records, of course, is we walk our own damn way. And I used to record for Rounder Records. That was interesting up here in Cambridge, Massachusetts. That was a pretty good move for me. Jerry Douglas produced my first one on there. You can download it from whoever owns Rounder now. I think they still call it Rounder. I don't know. But Peg Leg Records, we got about 4 or 5 albums out. Our website's roybookbinder.com. And I fill the envelopes myself, drive them down to the post office, get them all shipped out to you. But now you can download if you don't want to bother with any hard product. I hope I don't get stuck with piles of compact discs. But years ago when I was with Rounder, they were doing away with the cassettes, and they called me up and said, we're doing away with the cassettes. You want to buy the cassettes? We got like 200 of them. I said, how much? They said, $2 a piece. Seemed like a good idea. I said, I'll give you $1.50. They said, sold. I ended up throwing them in the dumpster 8 years later. They did okay, them Rounder kids. Here's one I wrote in the style of Reverend Gary Davis. He influenced my music a great deal, but I couldn't really grasp the concept of his music, but that was okay. There's a lot of people that could play his music, but it's hard to make a living playing somebody else's music. But this is a good one. Mrs. Davis would have liked this song. The Reverend didn't like too much. There's a new book, great book on Reverend Gary Davis's life by Ian Zach called Say No to the Devil. And there's a new book coming out by John Kruth. I think that's how you say his name. And that's a different angle, but it's a great. I read the first chapter. I was pretty impressed. Anyway, this here is The Good Book. My mama told me, you know my papa told me too. The good book's got the answers, yes, it will tell you what to do. The good book's got the answers, you just wait and see. Good book's got the answers there, just for you and me. Learn to sing and dance, you better work and play real hard. Watch your step along the way on your journey to the stars. Don't be telling lies. Straight and narrow path you're on will lead you to the prize. Yes, my mama told me, my papa told me too. The good book's got the answers, you know it will tell you what to do. Yes, the good book's got the answers, you just wait and see. Good book's got the answers there, just for you and me. Don't be wanting what's not yours, give thanks, you got a lot. You ain't never gonna miss what you don't have or get from them that's got. Fussing and fighting is not the righteous way. You just best be quiet if you've got nothing good to say. Yes, my mama told me, my papa told me too. The good book's got the answers, yes it will tell you what to do. The good book's got the answers, you just wait and see. Good book's got the answers there, just for you and me. The good book, thank you. Woo. I don't think I did the St. Pete Blues yet. That's where I live with the new wife. This one, St. Pete, Florida is a pretty cool place to be. A lot of people only know it because Jack Gerwig died there, or used to live there with his mother. I don't know if he died there, he might have. The house is in the neighborhood, but I never went by. I'm not into those ghoulish kind of things. Got the more traditional style blues song. Get your ups and you get your downs. That's what it takes to make a fool go around. I said, hey, hey, baby, you ain't so much, you know. You know, I'm going back back down south. Leave all this rain, sleet, cold, and snow. Papa told Mama how it's gonna be. Mama said, Papa, Daddy, you just wait and see. Hey, hey, baby, you ain't so such much, you know. That's right, I'm going back down south. Leave all this rain, sleet, cold, and snow. Don't look back, Mama, you might not like what you see. Oh, you're scheming and you're dreaming. Never set your poor heart free. Hey, hey, baby, Mama, you ain't so such much, you know. That's right, you know where I'm going. St. Pete Blues. Thank you. Thank you very much. This one here is called It Could Have Been Worse. I always was saying that, and the new wife used to get upset with me. She said, "You're so negative." I said, "Did you have a good time at so-and-so's house at that get-together?" I said, "It could have been worse." How about that meal last night? Could have been worse. So then I needed one more song to finish the Good Book album, and I wrote It Could Have Been Worse. Got all the airplay. It was number 3 on the Americana charts on the internet one time. That album was number 3 on the Americana charts whenever it came out, I forget. But number 1 and number 2, number 1 was Guy Clark that year, that moment when the internet threw me out at number 3. And Townes Van Zandt was number 2, and I was number 3. That was pretty good. I mean, they're both dead. There's still hope. Chapter 133, Near Brushes. Having a good time is more fun with people in front of me more than 3. You 3 have been very enthusiastic, and I'm thankful for it. My good gal left with another man. I won't be missing her raising sand. She ain't good looking and she don't dress fine. The girl can't cook and she's always lying. Could have been worse, they say. Could have been worse, you know. It could have been worse, just wait. That's right, it could have been worse, you'll see. Her mama don't like me, she told me so. In my business dictionary, she'll pop in, doesn't have a clue, and she'll catch us doing the dippity-doo. Well, it could have been worse, they say. Could have been worse, you know. Could have been worse, just wait. Old Picket Roy. likes her whiskey and she likes her wine. She's smoking them reefers all the time. She gets so high, can't hardly stand. Can't remember that I'm her man, but it could have been worse, they say. Could have been worse, you know. Could have been worse, just wait, that's right. It could have been worse, you see. Oh yeah, I'm a good gal left with another man. Won't be missing no raisin sand. Ain't good looking and she don't dress fine. A girl can't cook and she's always fine. That's a good one there. Back during this, some of you might remember my country western period. Back in the late 80s, I got discovered by Nashville, and there was a show called Nashville Now, the Ralph Emery show. It was like it was a nightly talk show. And I was touring with John Hartford, may he rest in peace at the time, and Merle Haggard's manager, Tex Whitson, was trying to get me a deal somewhere, and I was on tour with Bonnie Raitt at the same time. Things were really hopping there for a while. That's chapter 9, 13, and 26. But at one point, I got the call from the Nashville network, and they said they wanted to talk to me, so I called them back, and they said, my name is Roy Bookbinder, and I got a call from you. They said, what's it about? I said, you tell me. They didn't know who I was. But then they called me back and straightened it out. And I ended up on the Ralph show there. I was on tour with Bonnie Raitt, and that helped me get on there, because she was playing the new Opryland scene thing there when the last record came out on the previous record company before she got all the Grammys. Warner Brothers. And I was on that tour from Florida to Maine. That was quite a deal for me. Bonnie Raitt and her crew were great. And I was all excited because we were going to play the Grand Ole Opry. But it was the new Opry, not the old Opry, but hey, Opry's the Opry. I was pretty pleased with myself. I mean, a kid growing up in Queens, give me a break. As they say in London, I was chuffed. So we're backstage at me and the first wife, may she rest in peace, in Biloxi, Mississippi, with her new husband. We were backstage there having a big time, you know, and then all of a sudden there's a ruckus going on before the show started, and Bonnie Raitt's road manager's having an argument with the manager of the Opry thing, the stage manager, and I hear him say, well, they got to use our sound system. It's the greatest new sound system that money can buy. And they said, well, we got to use Bonnie Raitt's sound system. And they're going at it. And then I hear the Opry guy saying about this alleged opening act. Well, that caught my attention. And then Bonnie's guy says, I'm calling L.A. And he calls up Dick Waterman, was her manager at the time, and he gets the who's and the hows and says, okay, I'll tell him. He says, well, Dick says you got a choice. He said, what's the choice? He said, number one, we're using our system. Number two, Roy's going to sing at least 3 songs on the Grand Ole Opry here. And number 4 is, and if we don't get that, we're leaving. So I got to play. And I came off the stage, and Roy Acuff and Bashful Brother Oswald were back there, and they were laughing and slapping me on the back, saying, we know what you're doing there. Where'd you get them old guitar licks? I said, hey, I'm old enough to sign a contract, Mr. Acuff. Let's get going here. Time's a wasting. And I ended up on the show 38 times in 2 years, so that was good. I met a lot of country stars there. It was a big deal. One time I did my song, and then I came on the couch, and the other guest was, I forgot his name. Charlie Pride. So Charlie Pride's laughing. He's trying to introduce me to Charlie Pride. I said, hey, Charlie. He says, yeah, he's laughing. I said, what's so funny? He said, what's so funny? You're out there singing like my uncle's down in Mississippi, and I'm doing Hank Williams songs. Can't argue with that. I heard this boy sing this song on the Nashville Now TV show. His name was John Anderson. He had a #1 hit with this song, and I thought, God, that's a great song. I wish I could do that song. And I slapped myself and said, just do it. Do it like it was written in 1928. You recognize the song. John Anderson was from Florida. Well, I'm just an old chunk of coal. I'm going to be a diamond someday. You know that I'm going to grow and glow. Till I'm so blue, pure, perfect. I'm going to put a smile on everybody's face. polish up. That's right, you know, I'm gonna polish up my old rough-edged self till I get rid of every single flaw. And I'm gonna find a new way to walk. I'm gonna search till I find me a better way to walk. I'm gonna grow and glow till I'm so blue, pure, perfect, and put a smile on everybody's face. Yes, I'm just an old chunk of coal. I'm gonna be a diamond someday. I'm gonna grow and glow till I'm so blue, pure, perfect. I'm gonna put a smile on everybody's face. 'Cause I'm just an old chunk of coal. Just an old chunk of coal. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm done. I thought it was a good finale.
That was Roy, a bookbinder, folks. Thank you all so much for tuning in tonight at Club Passim. Make sure you make a donation for this show at passim.org/stream. Hit that yellow donate button. Share this stream with your friends. Let them know that this was a fantastic one, and they should be tuning in as well. Next time, we're going to have Roy in here in person with an audience.
That's still on the air?
Yeah, we're still in the
I'd
air.
like to thank my buddy Neil Harp for letting me purchase this 95-year-old Gibson Nick Lucas Special, 1927.
Beautiful guitar, beautiful guitar. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Watch our streaming show schedule, but watch for our real in-person schedule as well. Next time, we're going to have you all in here with Roy. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.